example of them. And then I've got a handout for you guys to read and complete. You can do that this evening, and then we'll, with about an hour to go, we'll watch the rest of the movie. Okay, so what do you guys notice so far about the sticky notes that we've put up there?
China and Philippines.
There are none in the United States.
All right, so yeah, a lot in Asia, nothing from the United States. Except for the one that came out of Hawaii.
Well, one of my items, but I just picked it up.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. So why aren't we wearing a bunch of clothes that were made in America?
Because they're cheaper to make in other places.
Okay, it's cheaper to make over there. Okay, but I mean, would our workers with their higher levels of education, would they not be better at making clothes?
Yeah, but they want you to pay them $7.45.
Okay, so it's not good for producers to pay workers American salaries for things like clothes, right? What are American workers doing instead when we're not making clothes?
Working in factories making other stuff.
Making machinery.
We do a lot of heavy machinery, airplanes, cars. Do y'all know how many companies in America produce televisions?
Not like 5.
Few.
Very low.
Oh wait, in America?
One.
None. Like 1,
2,
0.
1.
Yeah.
Wait.
It said lower than one.
Oh,
Negative one.
Negative one.
No, there are no American companies that make televisions. Is that because there's no demand for televisions in America?
No.
No, right? Well, Apple is based here. But where are they making their televisions?
Japan.
Okay.
Right? They're making them over in Asia. Because have any of you guys ever heard or seen about anyone who has died from a malfunctioning television?
Yeah.
Like falling off the mountain.
Yeah, like at worst it might fall on them. But even today's new TVs aren't.
Blowing up.
They're not that heavy anymore, right? So, what about anybody ever died because of an airplane?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, would you, as a consumer, would you want a TV made in Taiwan and an airplane made in America, or do you want vice versa? Would you want to?
The first one.
Right? Why is that?
Because I trust America.
You trust the American worker more to do those things that might end in your death, right? And that is the reason that we let other countries do clothing and computers and TVs and things like that is because we would rather focus on more important things, right? Things that might result in the death of the user of that product, right? So we have these two concepts. There is absolute advantage, which an absolute advantage is you are just absolutely better at doing something than someone else. And when we're talking about international economics, your country is just better at producing some item than another country when you have the same resources. Right, so absolute is you are just absolutely better than the people around you. Anybody watch professional basketball? Or at least have a passing knowledge of professional basketball? Like, you know who LeBron James is? Okay? LeBron James on his teams. Anybody know what's interesting about LeBron James? Like,
He went to Miami and went back to play ball.
Well, like what? Does anybody know what position he plays for his team?
Forward.
You
I mean, he can play.
What was that, Brian?
He can play.
Quarterback.
anything.
Yeah, he can play all 5 different positions, and so far this season,
Play the point guard.
yeah, he's played, or in the last year, he's played every single position, right? So LeBron James on his team has an absolute advantage at playing basketball, at producing basketball statistics, right? He is a better passer, a better shooter, a better defender, a better rebounder than pretty much everyone else on his team. So why does he only get to play one position at a time? Why doesn't he play all 5? Because he can't, right? He needs some assistance. If they were to let him just play 1 on 5, how successful would he be?
Not.
Not very, right? So instead, what has to happen is his team has got to rely on comparative advantage, and instead putting the right people in the right place to do the job. And so maybe one night, they're playing a team that's got some really tall people, and so they let LeBron play point guard, and they put in their tall guys to stand near the goal. Or maybe they're playing, a team that is that shoots a lot, and you want LeBron near the goal to get a bunch of rebounds. So every night when teams set their lineup, they're using comparative advantage to figure out who is better at that position, who can do it. What we look for comparative advantage is who can do it at a lower opportunity cost. You guys remember what opportunity cost is?
The next
The next best alternative.
beneficial
Right.
alternative.
It's giving up that next best thing, right? So why would you have LeBron James play one position? Well, because he does more good in one position and has someone else in those other 4 positions. How many of you guys are the oldest sibling in your household? Right? What's age differences?
9.
9 years?
0.
Twins?
None.
Oh.
No.
All right. So, especially if you're in that like 6 and up year difference range, y'all ever been asked to clean your room or like clean the house?
No.
If you're asked to clean your house, do you, as the older sibling, the one with the absolute advantage, do you do it all yourself?
No,
No, why not?
because you don't want to.
Okay, so what do you do?
So the brother.
If you're younger, it should help you.
Right, and then how do you figure out who does what?
Tell
You
the-
give
By
them
what
the
you
light
don't want
work
to.
Tell
while
them what
you
to
do the
do.
heavy stuff.
What's that, O'Brien?
You give them the light work while you do the
Right, you give them the stuff that they are capable of doing,
Oh,
and then you do the stuff that you're capable of doing.
Oh.
Right? Let's just say, hypothetically, we have a 16-year-old and a 6-year-old, and we've got to pick up stuff around the room, vacuum, dust, and make a bed. Right? Which one of those would you want the older? Which one do you think the older kid is better at?
Vacuum.
Making the bed bang.
Well, better than the little brother.
Vacuum. Dusting.
Does it be all things?
Yeah.
Chances are, older sibling has the absolute advantage, right? They're just absolutely better at doing this because they're older, they're more skilled, they can do more things, right? But does that mean older siblings should do everything? No, right? So what you're going to do is find out what is the comparative advantage. Who pays a lower opportunity cost to do the activity that they're doing, right? So what would you do with the little brother if you had those activities, cleaning? What would you make the little brother do? Pick up stuff, right? And then you let the older brother come in and vacuum and maybe dust the high stuff, and then they work together to make the bed, right? And that way they are, working together and not having to do it all by themselves. That's the goal of international economics, is that we don't want to have to do things all by ourselves. Because things will get more expensive if we make everything ourselves, right? Again, why are all of our shirts made in China?
Less expensive.
So it's less expensive, right? So that it gets to the market at a lower cost for us as consumers, right? Would you buy the t-shirt that you're wearing now if it cost, say, $20 more to be made in America? Right? Would you pay an additional $20 for the shirt that you're wearing? Right? So we like to, relying on that comparative advantage and being able to trade helps us keep costs lower for consumers. So what I've got for you guys, in addition to everything, I want you to go ahead and start off, read through this worksheet. Hey, all right. This will give you a little bit better explanation about absolute and comparative advantages, and then how they work to determine opportunity costs. We'll get into that in detail tomorrow.
Ken,
Oh, part one and part two. So if we do one,
All right, so y'all take a second, read through here, try to get to at least determining which country has an absolute advantage in producing chocolate bars